Shivasadi Gaur. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Go Pranande Hari Hari Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, so thank you all very much for joining. So I have been, we have quite a few devotees join. We have at least 27 connections, and some of these connections have multiple devotees. So thank you all for joining. Now we are supposed to have His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu speaking today, but it appears that we are not able to get through to him. Although we had confirmed a couple hours ago that he will be joining and speaking. So now I got a text from His Grace Nilmani Prabhu to talk a little bit on the topic since everyone's here. So my apologies that he's not here, but since we are here, we can talk about the topic. Now the topic at hand is the best definition of bhakti. So bhakti means devotional service, Krishna consciousness, and the practice of Krishna consciousness. Now, the Narada Pancharatra, which is the definitive text that gives us all the details, on the practice of Krishna consciousness, practice of Bhakti Yoga, gives an official and clear definition of what Bhakti is. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself quoted this verse from Narada Pancharatra in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And that verse ends in the words Bhaktir Uchyate, which means this is the definition of Bhakti. This is called Bhakti. So it goes like this: Sarvapadhi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam Rishikesha Rishikena sevanam bhakti ruchyate. So this verse, everyone would have heard about it. Srila Prabhupada quotes it many, many times. Sarvapadhi vinirmuktam means Sarva Upadhi, all designations of material nature based on the material body. Vinirmuktam, one must become free from all those designations. That's the first requirement or prerequisite for practicing Krishna consciousness. Sarvapadhi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam, and being completely purified in that way. Then what do you actually do? So it's like you're washing your hands first, that's Sarvapadhi vinirmuktam. Then after washing your hands, what are you going to do? So you're going to do some service or some cooking, or you're going to write something, or you're going to make something. So that doing part is Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate, to serve the senses of the Lord, who is the master of the senses. So Krishna is known as Rishikesha. Rishik means senses, and Isha means Ishvara, or the Lord and Master, the controller of the senses. So when we serve the senses of the Lord, after having purified ourselves from these material designations, then that practice is called Bhakti, Bhakti Ruchyate. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, we find this similar definition, where Krishna says that one must come to the platform of Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, na shochati, na kangshati, samah sarveshu bhuteshu, mad bhaktim labate param. So here in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna defines that how can one come to the platform of bhakti. So it is Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, to come on the platform of Brahma Bhuta, platform of spirituality. One becomes prasanna. By nature, the platform of spirituality is blissful, prasannatma. And what are the qualifications, the qualities, or the symptoms of that bliss? Na shochati, na kangshati. That one does not lament for what he has lost in the material realm. And na kangshati, he has no akanksha. He has no hankering for something that he's missing in the material realm. Na shochati, na kangshati. Then he also sees all other living entities as spirit, recognizes them as equal. Samah sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim lavate param. Then only can one come to the platform of my bhakti. So here now we have discussed two definitions. The first one is a definitive definition. The second one in the Gita is the prerequisite and the symptoms of actually attaining the platform of bhakti. Mad bhaktim lavate param. So now, even after having achieved that platform of bhakti, there is a definition of what is the highest bhakti, uttama, which implies that there are different gradations of bhakti. So the highest definition of bhakti is given in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami. And that goes like this: Anya Bhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadhyanavritam Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam Bhaktir Uttama. So this Bhaktir Uttama, what does Uttama mean? Uttama means best. If you break down the word Uttama in Sanskrit, it means, Tama means darkness, and Ut means above. So it's above any trace of ignorance or darkness. This is the highest. Bhaktir Uttama. So now we know what is Bhaktir Uchyate, is the definition of bhakti. But within that, what is the highest bhakti? So Anya Bhilashita Shunyam, that one does not have any other Abhilasha. Abhilasha means any other desire, And shunya means zero. Anya bilashita shunyam. Zero implies that there's not even a trace of it. Anya bilashita shunyam. And what is that shunya? Jnana karmadi anavritam. To be completely freed from this desire for jnana karma. Now, the literal translation of jnana is knowledge. But in particular, this context, in this context of jnana karmadi, the jnana refers to the knowledge that focuses entirely on simply separating matter from spirit, that leads one to an impersonal conclusion, or the idea that, I am spirit, and that's basically it, I am Brahman. So that effort, that school of thinking, and there's a whole culture around that jnana school, we should be free from that, because that actually comes in the way of bhakti. Jnana karmadi. Now, karmadi means fruitive activities, working hard to accumulate wealth and resources so that they can be used to gratify my senses and the senses of our extended personhood, extended family, extended beyond the family to the community, to the country, to humanity, and so on. But again, because it's based on sense gratification, it falls under this karma path. So jnana karmadi anavritam. So we should be completely free from those desires. Anukulyana shilanam bhaktir uttama. So anukulya means that one must be fully absorbed in serving the Lord with anukul. Anukul means favorably. So just because someone's thoughts are constantly absorbed in Krishna doesn't necessarily mean that that person is favorably disposed to Krishna. And the classic example given is that of Kansa. That Kansa was so conscious of Krishna, he couldn't even sleep. Oh my God, Krishna will be here any minute and he's destined to kill me. And he was full of fear, full of envy, full of hatred. So that sort of consciousness of Krishna is not considered bhakti because it is not favorable. It is aimed towards hurting, minimizing, or trying to eradicate Krishna. So anukulyena shilanam. It has to be favorable. It has to be something meant to serve and appease Krishna. That is called the highest bhakti. Now, interestingly, when you look at the Hrishikena Rishikesha verse, the implication is that one must serve with our hands or with our senses, which means we must do something tangible, meaningful, something where we employ our intelligence and our mind. It is not simply a thought. It is not simply a feeling that we have and then we continue our materialistic activities. But at the same time, just want to feel some love for Krishna. It doesn't work that way. The total surrender towards Krishna has to be reflected in one's action. Now, when you flip the view and you look from the point of view of Lord Krishna, the perspective changes dramatically. What I'm trying to say is that from our point of view, of course, we must try our very best to offer the purest of actions, the purest of ingredients, and the purest of intentions. And when all those three things come in one place, purest intentions, purest actions, and purest ingredients, then we can make a top-class offering. That is anya bilashita shunyam, whether it is an offering of kirtan, whether it is an offering of some bhoga that we prepared for the Lord to enjoy, or an offering of arti, or any kind of offering of love toward the Lord that is pure from all these three perspectives, is considered uttama. Now, from the perspective of the Lord, it is very interesting because the Lord is so kind that he does not see the purity of all these three aspects. He doesn't really care so much about it. If my ingredients are not pure, but if my intention was pure and my action was pure, then he will accept it. If my action was not pure and my ingredients were not pure, but my intention was pure, he will accept it. But what if my intention was not pure? What if my ingredients were not pure? And what if my actions were also not pure? then will you accept it? So let us take a look at this verse. This verse is what His Holiness Sachinandan Swami calls the super mercy of the Lord verse. This verse was spoken by Lord Brahma to Krishna when Lord Brahma is offering prayers to Lord Krishna after the Brahma Vimohan Leela, when Krishna had confused him and when Brahma tried to kidnap the cows and cowherd boys, and then Krishna totally bewildered him. Brahma realized his position. And among those beautiful prayers, one of them goes like this. He tells the Lord, Esham Gosha Nivasinam Bhavan Kim Devarate Tinash Cheto Vishwa Phalat Phalam Padaparam Kutrapyayan Muhyati Sadvesha Divaputanapi Sakula Tameva Deva Pita Tadhamat Suhrit Priyatmatanaya Pranashaya Spatkrite. He says, oh my Lord, all these residents of Vrindavan, the cowherd men, the cowherd boys, the gopis, they have given themselves completely to you. Now you have given yourself completely to who? You've already given yourself completely when you're a baby to Putana. Putana api sakula and her family members. Why does he say he gave himself to Putana? Because he says sadveshadiva Putana api sakula. That she came in sadvesh. She came just dressed as a devotee, just pretending to be devotee, in the uniform or the costume of a devotee, in the disguise as a devotee. Her intention was absolutely not pure. Her intention was to kill you, my Lord. But you did not see her intention. You completely put it aside. And you gave her the topmost liberation of being one of the gopis, the senior gopis in Goloka Vrindavan. The highest liberation one can possibly get. Why? Just because she came Sadvesh. You closed your eyes when she came. Why? Because you refused. My Lord, you're so kind that you refused to see her evil intent, even though she was saturated with evil intent. The poison that she had smeared on her breast was enough to kill thousands of men. Her intention was poisonous. It was not a mistake. She was an assassin. But you closed your eyes when she came. Sadvesha deva putanapi sakula tvameva deva pita yaddamartha suhrit priyatmatanaya pranashayastvatkrite. Now you have given yourself completely to this Putana. What more do you have left to give? My Lord, I declare you are bankrupt. You are bankrupt that you cannot pay anything to these Vrajavasis whose intention is pure, whose ingredients are pure, whose actions are pure, and completely saturated with love for you. What can you possibly give to them, my Lord? So even though I'm praying to you, I declare that you are bankrupt because you have nothing more to give. You have nothing left to give. You are the husband of the goddess of fortune, but you are broke because you already gave yourself to Putana. So the point Lord Brahma was trying to make in a very beautiful, poetic way is that even a pretext, even a visual semblance or resemblance of what is called bhakti, if one does, the Lord ignores the intention. He ignores the ingredients. He ignores everything. If there is anything here remotely connected to bhakti, he'll give full credit. It's like doing a math paper, you have to show all the work. And sometimes, you get the answer wrong, but it shows that you understood the method, but somehow in the last line, you forgot some calculation. And the teacher is very kind. The teacher gives you full marks, even though the answer was wrong, because he sees, okay, your understanding was somewhat correct, or he gives you partial credit. Krishna is so lenient that just by putting an attempt to the paper, just by putting your name on the paper, he'll give you 100%. That's how lenient and kind he is. That was the point that Brahma was trying to make. So the process of bhakti, anya bilashita shunyam jnana karma dhyanavritam, certainly pleases the Lord so much, it completely tilts the scales in our favor when we make a sincere attempt to come towards him, because the Lord is just looking to give you that full credit, even though we don't get everything right. Now, then what is the point of us putting putting so much sincerity, putting so much effort in purifying our process? If the Lord is so lenient anyway, if I'm going to get 100% on my paper, I just put my name on it, I'll get it. You see, with Putana, even though she was saturated with the toxic and poisonous intent of killing Krishna, her focus was Krishna. The focus of her consciousness was Krishna. She was not indifferent to Krishna. She was full of hate for him. She wanted to murder him. Now, that is not called bhakti because it is not anukulyana. It is not uttama bhakti. However, the point to note is that the consciousness must be saturated with Krishna. The consciousness, the intelligence, the mind, all the energies of the body should have Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And when we come from a conditioned platform, our biggest enemy is not hatred of Krishna. Our biggest enemy is indifference to Krishna. And it is that indifferent flavor of bhakti where we get minimal response because our focus is superficial. Sure, maybe our ingredients may be pure, our actions may be pure because we go through the checklist, but our intentionality is not there. And our consciousness is not saturated with pleasing Krishna, or even just having Krishna and the thoughts of Krishna in our mind. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada named our movement the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. He didn't call it International Society for, Krishna checklists of procedures or, of traditional procedures. No. He called it International Society for Krishna Consciousness, where it is of utmost importance to bring Krishna into our consciousness. And that is done by the practice of the intentionality and the practice of following in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada and those who are practicing with sincerity and those who are progressive devotees. And that in doing so, we can actually understand the purport and the meaning of this Anya Bilashita Shunyam verse. We may understand it in theory, but unless we see it being practiced and we follow in their footsteps, even the meanings of some of these very simply worded verses will elude us. Because the meaning of these verses, of all the scriptures, does not take place by the study of them. It takes place when one serves with sincerity. Yasya deve para bhaktir, yatha deve tatha gurau, tasyaite kathita hyartha, prakashante mahatmana. That all these meanings in these Upanishads and the Vedas, the meaning of the verse, the essence, kathita hi artha. Kathita means what has been spoken. Artha means meaning. Kathita hi artha, prakashante mahatmana. That they become prakashante, they become illumined, they become realized. Only how? Yasya deve para bhaktir, yatha deve tatha gurau. That we serve the Lord with our full heart. And just as we're serving the Lord, we also serve the Guru. Yatha deve tatha gurau. Tasyaite kathita hyartha. Prakashante mahatmana. So what is the key? The key is to locate, identify, and serve a progressive, advanced, senior, pure devotee who can give us guidance. That's Guru. Understand the position of the Supreme Lord Krishna, understand the process of chanting Hare Krishna, and then try as much as possible to purify our intent, to purify the ingredients, to purify our actions, and above all, to saturate our consciousness, our memory, our intelligence, and our mind with the thoughts of Krishna. And this can only happen when we regularly hear Srimad Bhagavatam, when we regularly discuss with each other, and we sing, and we try to encourage others in following Krishna consciousness. So thank you all for tolerating me. I'm sorry we had to do this old switch and bait and switch kind of thing that Hari Pasha Prabhu is coming and you're stuck with me. So I beg forgiveness from all of you. I hope I didn't waste anybody's time. But we'll pause here and thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. If you have any comments, please jump in. We still have a few minutes.
Madana-gopāla Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hari
Dandot from Hari Hari. So I think this bait and switch was spectacular.
Please continue.
Please continue. It's like
I was
Neo Ranier.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't prepared for anything. I just kind of off the cuff.
Oh.
This was beautiful. Thank you very much.
Does anyone have any comments to add to this topic? It's a very open topic. It's a vast topic on the process of bhakti. You can unmute yourself. On the side, there's an unmute panel.
Hare Krishna, Madana-gopāla Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you so much for stepping in at the last minute. You're a genius at being able to give these kinds of classes like in an improvised manner. So thank you again. I was going to ask you to expand a little bit on this idea of anukulyena, like, how do we really perform bhakti with a favorable mood, in a favorable manner?
Anukulyena. So let us see. Anukul means okay. All right. Yeah, it gets very technical on the Anukulya verse. So let me just see if there is, yeah, it gets into Swarup Lakshana of Bhakti, and then there's the Tatashta Lakshana of Bhakti, and so on. It gets a little technical on that one. But I see that His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj is online, so I'd request him. Perhaps he could do a much better job on answering that question. Maharaj?
I think you're doing fine. You're doing fine, Madana-gopāla. What do you need me for?
No, I'm saying just for this question. It's a little bit beyond my pay grade.
Okay, let's have the question again.
The question was that, could you expand on the concept of anukulyena, the anukul aspect of this uttama bhakti?
Anukul means favorable. You explained it very nicely. Kamsa is always thinking of Krishna, but he's thinking of Krishna unfavorably. And anukul means favorably. Just like Yashoda Mai and all the Brajbasis, they're thinking of Krishna with love. That's anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjana. Everything favorable we accept. Is there some question, something unclear? I think you explained it nicely.
No, Maharaj, thank you so much for expanding. I was struggling with this notion, so it's of actually how you perform bhakti in an anukul way, and really I think what I heard the answer to be, and I think Madana-gopāla also said it, it's not exactly what we do in the form of service, but it's our consciousness and mentality when we are performing that bhakti. I think that was a key concept that I think I need to understand.
Yeah, it's interesting that the concept of anukul, and there are certain examples given by the acharyas of how you can overextend the definition of anukul and underextend it. For example, the example given is Chanur and Mushtika. Chanur and Mushtika were those big wrestlers, right? So when they came to wrestle with Krishna, right, they had the intention of killing Krishna, right? They were charged with this task of just wrestling Krishna and just killing him. And they came on the arena and they challenged Krishna. Oh, you Krishna, who do you think you are? Come and just look at our big chest and our big muscles and come and fight me. So now what happened? Those words by Chanur and Mushtik were very pleasing to the Lord. Why? Why were they pleasing? Because they aroused the virya ras in Krishna. It surged within him. And he felt so excited that, yes, finally I get to, battle some real opponents. And even though Krishna received the punches of Chandra and Mushtik on his chest, he experienced a form of happiness. So then the question is, can Chandra and Mushtik be considered bhaktas? Because their actions led to a feeling of euphoria within Krishna. So their endeavors were meant for Krishna's undoing, not at all for his enjoyment, but they led to his enjoyment. However, because their motivation was not anukul, they cannot be concluded as bhaktas. On the other hand, you can look at the example of Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda was feeding Krishna, and she was so happy, and Krishna was drinking her milk. And then all of a sudden, the milk on the stove was boiling over, and she put down Krishna. As soon as she removed Krishna from her lap, what happened? Krishna was not pleased at all. He was very angry. And actually, it led a lot of displeasure to Krishna. So much so that he bit his lips, he smashed a nearby clay pot that was full of yogurt, and he was very unhappy at being denied his mother's milk, especially right in the middle of feeding. I mean, if he was done, that's fine. I'm done, it's okay, and you got a burp, and then you're done. But it wasn't done at all. He was actually quite upset. His lips had become red. It was not a fake show. He was actually angry. So now, can this be considered anukulya? Because it led to Krishna's displeasure. No, because Mother Yashoda is the presiding goddess of immaculate prema bhakti in Vatsalya Bhav, Vatsalya Ras. Her every endeavor is for the sake of serving Shri Krishna. She didn't want to waste the milk. That milk was meant for Krishna. She was going to heat the milk, turn it into yogurt, churn it, make the butter, and hope that Krishna would climb up and steal it. That was her intention. But she's a queen of Vraja. So her thought at that time was, even if I displease Krishna for the time being, I must save this milk for him. So this would cause her prema bhakti to swell to exceptional heights and permeate all her actions. That's what it's made of. So her actions can never be anything but bhakti, even though occasionally they may lead to displeasure of Krishna. So that is a very interesting angle on this anukula pratikul bhav. The Chandra Mushtik pleased Krishna and Mother Yashoda displeased Krishna. But who is the bhakta? So it goes a little deeper. As the acharyas analyze each of these scenarios, it gets very interesting.
Madana-gopāla Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful class. I just want to add one comment to that. So in that verse, right, the one which you explained is the Swarup Lakshana, Krishna Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam, right? So in that, Rupa Goswami says, it's actually, if you see, it's a progressive. These qualities are kind of progressive in nature. So first he says, bhakti is a shilanam, it's not a passive activity, but it's more like an active action. And then he says that any activity cannot be considered as a bhakti, but it has to be Krishnanu Shilanam. It means the activities have to be for Krishna, then only it's called bhakti. Now again, it goes more progressive in the sense, can any activity to Krishna done is considered the bhakti? Not really. Then he says that anukulena, like it has to be favorable intention. And if you look at the progressive nature of these qualities, the first the shilanam is more at a gross level, gross body level, and the anukulena comes at a subtle body level. And generally, bhakti means more at a subtle body level. If it is aligned properly, then the gross our activities will fall in place correctly. So in that, I think the anukulena, the acharyas give two examples which you just explained, that Mother Yashoda and Kamsa. If you look at it, Krishnanushilanam, actually Kamsa is more aligned to Krishnanushilanam than Yashoda. But anukulena is which makes a difference. So that's what I thought. These qualities are more of progressive in nature.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, it gets quite technical when the acharyas give these definitions and they're broken down by the other acharyas. But yes, I guess that's the essence of it. So the definition of bhakti, we talked about from Narad Pancharatra. We talked about the prerequisites of bhakti from Bhagavad Gita, the Brahma-bhuta verse. And then we talked about the highest form of bhakti, Bhakti Ruttama, from Nectar of Devotion. And so that is kind of covers the topic from end to end. At least it kind of touches upon the topic. There's no end to the topic of bhakti. In fact, everything is all about bhakti. Okay. Any other?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Nice class.
Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Please give us more mercy for another class. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Without preparation.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for this class and for your elucidation. I've studied this verse before, and I learned so much more today. So thank you very, very much. This is Brajarani from the Bhakti Center. Krishna.
Oh, thank you very much for joining.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Haribol.
Madana-gopāla Prabhu.
Yes, Yashoda Prabhu.
If I may. So something you said towards the beginning of your class, I wanted you to expand on it if you could. You talked about, Gyan, and, Gyan is frequently translated as knowledge. And I was thinking, as devotees, obviously, we want to go beyond Gyan in the sense of, in personal, studying for the sake of impersonal liberation or becoming one with Krishna. But obviously, Gyan as in knowledge, for the sake of getting to know Krishna better, is not just encouraged, but it's absolutely necessary. So could you speak on that, please?
Yes, so this word does cause a lot of confusion because, see, the word Gyan just by itself refers to knowledge. But in Sanskrit, there's a lot of, it's all about context. You have to look at the text and the context. So what is the context of the word Jnana in this particular instance? And in this particular instance, it refers to Kaivalya Jnana, the knowledge cultivation of impersonal, towards the impersonal line. If we don't take the context of the word, then it gets very confusing. And sometimes some people can even be unscrupulous and intentionally take something out of context and use it to project a different meaning. There's a saying that a text without context is simply a pretext to push your own agenda. So the context is of supreme importance when it comes to words like Jnana. So in this particular case, Jnana does not refer to the cultivation of knowledge of Krishna and his personal aspect. That is actually comes under the realm of bhakti. In this case, it's referred to Kaivalya Jnana. Prabodhanand Saraswati has written a very nice verse defining or actually mentioning this Kaivalya Jnana. He calls it a kind of hell. Srila Prabhupada quoted in one of his verses. He gave a lecture in Hyderabad, I think it was 1970s, and he mentioned this verse. He says, Kaivalyam narakayate tridashapur akasha pushpayate durdantindriyai kal sarpa patali prodkhata danshtrayate vishwam purna sukhayate vidhi mahendradish kitayate yat karunya kataksha vaibhavatam tam gaur evastuma. That if one receives the sidelong glance of mercy of Mahaprabhu, then this Kaivalya Jnana or this Kaivalya platform of liberation, Kaivalyam narakayate, he recognizes that this impersonal line of Jnana, or even the goal, the moksha that you get out of it, is narak, is hell. Why? Because even though it is Jnana, it leads to hell. Even though you reach the goal that you wanted. Because when you are separated from the service of the Lord, when there's a merging and there's no difference between the servitor and the servant, there's no visible difference, there's no mechanism to exchange that flow of rasa, then that is a form of imprisonment, which is a kind of hell. Kaivalyam narakayate. Tridashapur Akasha Pushpayate. So now Tridashapur refers to these 13 levels of heavenly planets. And that is like a phantasmagoria, flower in the sky, pie in the sky. It's useless. It's not real. So this verse poetically kind of talks about this Anya Bilashada Shunyam, Jnana Karmadya Navritam. So Jnana and then Karma refers to this Karma Kanda where you get to the higher heavenly planets. Kaivalyam Narakayate, Tridashapur Akasha Pushpayate. Durdanta Indriyai Kala Sarpa Patali. The poisoned teeth of our materially conditioned senses. Durdanta Indriyai Kala Sarpa. They are like the snake of death, the snake of time. But Protkata Danshtrayate. Danshtrayate means that these poison teeth are removed. The snake remains. The snake of our senses remains in our possession, in our existence. But the poison teeth are removed in the sense that our senses are no longer addicted to enjoying matter. Now they can be used for Krishna's service. So all these three things happen when one gets a sidelong, merciful glance of Mahaprabhu, right? Then what happens? Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. Even though Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he certifies this as Dukhalayam Shashvatam, Prabodhanand Saraswati says that for a devotee of Gaura, what happens? Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. It's the opposite. The whole, even material existence is full of bliss. Why? Because it's not really, the whole universe is blissful because he's chanting Gaura's name. Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. Vidhi Mahendra Adishcha Kitayate. Vidhi means Lord Brahma. Mahendra means Lord Shiva. I mean, we don't worship them. We recognize them for who they are, that they're all servants of Krishna. Like we are all just ants and they're also kind of like that. How does all that happen? By only one thing. Yat Karunya Kataksha Vaibhavatam. If one gets a sidelong, merciful glance of Gaura, then all these things happen at the same time, which is why the process given by Gaura helps us quickly overcome this tendency toward the gyan that causes so much confusion, like you're mentioning. It helps us with our senses, the addictive aspect of our senses, and then also the materialistic goals of karma kanda and so on. So that's for the whole package given by Gauranga Mahaprabhu and delivered to us by hand delivery by Srila Prabhupada. That is really all we need to overcome these confusions and to overcome any impediments toward the real goal of becoming devotees of the Lord. Okay, thank you very much. Is that okay? Yeshudallah Prabhu?
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay, so I think we're very close to 9 o'clock. If no one has any other comments or questions, we can wrap it up over here. And hopefully we can get Hari Parshada Prabhu some point soon in the next few days, and we will send out the link again to everybody.
So, Madana-gopāla, tomorrow at same time, right? We have a Jayade tomorrow.
Tomorrow, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for those of you who are not aware, the same link at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami, we have sequestered him and imprisoned him in Tobacco, and he cannot escape. So he doesn't have a choice but to come on the camera and enlighten us, because otherwise we won't let him out of the building. So, so please join us at 8 o'clock on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, indefinitely or until further notice. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Wonderful class.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Madana-gopāla Prabhu, again for wonderful class.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madana-gopāla Prabhu. Satsitadas from Detroit. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I think in terms of Milani tried to log in, but I think between Bihari Prabhu, then he must have left. Hari Pasha Prabhu wasn't there.
In the meeting, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandvat. Speaking.